This presentation is titled Writing Meaningful and Measurable IEP Goals. As special education teachers, we play a vital role in serving on multidisciplinary teams that develop ambitious, achievable annual goal statements to drive students' individualized education programs. As such, our current and future students will directly benefit from us taking time to sharpen our skills in the area of IEP goal development. Recall that IEPs are developed through a collaborative process and that this process is underpinned by a commitment to high expectations and cultural responsivity. Our focus this week is on developing ambitious and achievable goals that close achievement gaps and support the unique strengths and needs of the student. Let's pause for a moment to reflect on what we know. Look back at your notes from the articles assigned for this week. Recall that a legally defensible present level of academic achievement and functional performance statement should not only specify a learner's strengths and needs, but also use a variety of assessment methods, records, review, interview, observation, and testing to generate an adequate description of a behavior, the conditions under which the behavior occurs, and the dimensions by which the behavior can be measured. One point that skilled IEP goal writers agree upon is that a well-written goal statement flows from a data-based PLAFP statement. Let's look at some examples of well-crafted PLAFP statements. One exemplar PLAFP addresses the area of mathematics. Sean is in 3rd grade and has been working on building skills related to numbers and operations within a base 10 system. Sean can consistently count by ones, fives, tens, 100s through 1,000. He uses a place value chart to compute within 1,000. He uses terms greater than and less than consistently and accurately when making comparisons. He has practiced computing within 100,000 by using all 4 operations. He can multiply and add with greater accuracy compared to subtraction and division. On curriculum-based assessments, he averages 45% accuracy. Sean states that he is familiar with strategies for estimating and self-checking his work, but states that he often forgets these steps and instead tries to get the answer right the first time. Recall also that we use data from the PLAFP to conduct a root cause analysis and determine a child's disability-related need. One example of a disability-related need statement was shared in the presentation last week in Module 4. Maria needs to improve her skills for blending and segmenting multisyllabic words in English and Spanish so that she could fluently read grade-level text. You already know that we link the disability-related need to an annual goal statement so that every IEP goal aligns with at least one disability-related need. The basic components of an IEP goal statement include who, time frame, conditions, behavior, criterion. The time frame is specified in the number of weeks or by a certain date for completion. Conditions specify the manner in which progress toward the goal occurs. Conditions describe the specific resources that must be present for a student to reach the goal. The condition of the goal should relate to the behavior being measured. For example, a goal related to reading comprehension may require the use of a graphic organizer. The graphic organizer is the condition. The behavior clearly identifies the performance that is being monitored. It represents an action that can be directly observed and measured. The criterion identifies how much, how often, or to what standard the behavior must occur in order to demonstrate that the goal has been achieved. The goal criterion specifies the amount of growth that is expected. A well-written PLAFP offers a clear pathway for developing a meaningful and measurable or SMART IEP goal that contains the needed components of who, timeframe, behavior, condition, criterion. A sample SMART goal for John was developed in late second grade so that John could attain the goal by late third grade, or 1 year out the full IEP term. By May of 20XX, John will write a cohesive 5-sentence paragraph on a topic of his choice by including a topic sentence, supporting details, and a conclusion that aligns with Common Core ELA standard under Writing 3.2 in order to earn a score of 4 or greater on the district rubric in 6 opportunities. Skilled goal writers use the SMART format to write an initial draft of a measurable goal, and then they do a meaning check in order to make substantive revisions to the initial draft. A template can be helpful to generate the initial draft of a goal statement. For example, by month of year, student will make progress toward reference to the standard by name the priority skill or behavior in order to name the specific criterion or criteria. Let's take a moment to try to craft a SMART goal for Roger. We can link the goal to data in Roger's PLASP statement. Data from standardized measures of reading achievement, the NWEA map, show that Roger consistently scores below the 10th percentile. Roger's map scores are commensurate with about 10% of same-age test takers. According to his performance on curriculum-based measures using grade 2 probes, Roger reads aloud at a slow pace, making miscues with single-syllable words that use long vowel patterns. He is accurate in decoding regularly patterned CVC words in isolation and in connected text. Roger achieves an average rate of 28 words correct per minute, which is below his target score of 113. Roger reports that he uses the skip it strategy when he comes to a word he does not know, and states that he does not like reading. These statements corroborate the general education teacher's observations and anecdotal records that document Roger's difficulty with reading and determining meaning from multisyllabic words that appear in on-grade level text. So we just read the PLASP again for Roger. The goal will link directly to the disability-related needs statement in Roger's IEP, which is improve decoding skills through explicit instruction focused on building phonics and word analysis skills. The first draft of the goal needs to align with on-grade level state standards under reading foundations. The standard is listed for grade 5 because by the end of the IEP term, Roger will be in 5th grade. The standard refers to using phonics skills. We know Roger needs to improve skills for decoding multisyllabic words so that he can read with sufficient fluency and accuracy to support comprehension. Here is the team's first attempt at writing this goal statement for Roger. By October of 2022, Roger will make progress toward knowing and applying grade level phonics skills, Reading Foundations 5.3, by recognizing and properly pronouncing digraphs and blends in 80% of opportunities. After drafting, the team takes a step back to pause and think about whether the goal is meaningful, measurable, ambitious, and achievable. They know the goal needs to be time-bound, to be SMART, and the beginning of the statement actually represents a 12-month span for the full IEP term. The goal also needs to be ambitious and college career ready. It aligns with a Common Core State Standard English Language Arts standard under the Reading Foundations strand, This is reasonable because Roger will be in 5th grade when the IEP term ends. The team also needs to verify that a specific skill is described with measurable precision and written with achievability in mind so that an appropriate level of attainment is captured. Here's where some red flags show up with the language of the skill. Being able to recognize and properly pronounce digraphs and blends. The language of the criterion in 80% of opportunities is also standing out as a red flag. The team noticed that the phrasing by being able to is problematic and that it could easily be deleted from the draft statement with no effect on meaning. And then they scrutinized word choice, recognize, and properly pronounce. Recognize is not concrete or observable. They wondered whether reads, points to, states might actually be better choices. They also wondered whether properly pronounced serves the intended meaning, which is more closely linked to decoding and oral reading than adherence to mainstream styles of pronunciation. They also noticed that it was too difficult to determine what the criterion in 80% of opportunities actually meant to convey, given the ambiguity retained in the skills as first drafted. So they made some revisions. Here's what the revisions look like. By October or September, by the end of the IEP term, Roger will make progress toward knowing and applying grade level phonics skills, that again aligns with Reading Foundations 5.3, by demonstrating strategies other than skip it to read aloud 113 words correct per minute from an instructional level passage with 95% accuracy. The team was satisfied with the rewrite because they knew for sure that the criterion made sense and reflected a high level of ambition. However, some team members were unsatisfied with parts of the rewrite. The revision made it hard to understand the specific skill targeted in the goal statement. The main dilemma was that in this revised draft, it named what Roger would not do instead of telling what he would do. So the team decided to make a third attempt at drafting the statement for Roger. The final goal statement satisfied criteria for being ambitious, achievable, meaningful, and measurable. All SMART components were reflected in the statement that read, by the end of the IEP term, Roger will make progress toward knowing and applying grade level phonics skills by using sounded out decoding skills to read aloud 113 words correct per minute from an instructional level passage with 95% accuracy. Taking the time to self-evaluate and revise goal statements pays off in the long run. It's rare, if not impossible, that a very first attempt at writing an IEP goal statement will yield a goal that passes the stranger test, which means that you can write a draft of the goal, a stranger could read it, and interpret meaning exactly as you intended. Let's pause to summarize. Align with an on-grade level priority standard at the grade level the student will be in at the end of the IEP term. Use concrete verbs. Avoid ambiguous verbs like identify, demonstrate, recognize. Address specific skills or behaviors. Avoid writing ability-focused goals. So remove the phrasing will be able to or should be able to. The goal is on a behavior and skill, not on an ability. Be sure that a stranger can read the statement and infer the intended meaning. Critique this goal for Roger. By September of 20XX, Roger will solve 2-digit addition problems without regrouping with 80% accuracy in 4 out of 5 trials. Is it specific, measurable, attainable, achievable, realistic, time-bound? Here's a possible rewrite. By the end of the IEP term, Roger will use strategies such as representing the problem withdrawing or manipulatives in order to reach a solution to 4 out of 5 prompts using cognitively guided instruction, CGI, as documented by teacher observation and or student work. In one of the assigned articles for this week, Rachel Lambert offers some ideas for describing a gradient to the development of skills that students would need to deploy to embody various math practices. When the goal or objective requires students to explain or justify their reasoning, for example, we can evaluate mastery of this goal using a partial, moderate, or strong rating system. Partial refers to explaining reasoning in one way. Strong involves discussing and explaining multiple ways. These ideas can be helpful in crafting an ambitious goal statement or related objective statements. You've learned the components of a SMART goal and have witnessed the development of an exemplar goal statement for Roger. Now it's time to practice evaluating goal statements to decide whether they are meaningful and measurable. By October of 20XX, Aurelio will make progress toward demonstrating command of the conventions of standard English by spelling one-syllable words with up to 3-letter blends with at least 80% accuracy in 3 of 4 trials. This would be written for Aurelio, who will be in 2nd grade at the end of the IEP term. Check this goal for Marcus. By October of 20XX, Marcus will apply properties of operations to calculate with numbers in any form with 75% accuracy based on curriculum and district assessments. Marcus will be in 7th grade at the end of the IEP term. Noah will apply previous understandings of multiplication and division to accurately multiply and divide fractions without guidance. Check this goal. Does it meet SMART criteria? Is it measurable, meaningful, college career ready? How might you revise this IEP goal for Jolene? Jolene will increase her sight word vocabulary. How would you revise this goal for measurability for Randall? Randall will improve his measurement skills. How would you revise this goal for Eric? Eric will determine how many jobs he completed. Now you've practiced evaluating goals for SMART components and making revisions to improve measurability and alignment with Common Core or essential element standards. Let's take a closer look at a few exemplar statements. By October of 20XX, Sean will make progress toward understanding the base 10 number system by estimating and computing numbers 0 through 1 million in order to solve independent practice problems with 75% accuracy. The Common Core and Essential Elements math standards are organized under 5 big areas: number and operations, algebra, geometry, measurement, and data analysis and probability. Under number and operations, the general standard that spans grade levels is understand numbers and number systems and how to represent them. This includes computation and estimation skills. Under algebra, the standards address understanding patterns using mathematical models to represent quantitative relationships. Under geometry, the standards address analyzing characteristics of geometric shapes, describing spatial relationships using visualization and spatial reasoning to solve problems. Under measurement, the standards address understanding measurable attributes of objects, applying appropriate techniques, tools, formulas, and using visualization and spatial reasoning. The final standard, data analysis and probability, involves formulating questions, collecting, organizing, analyzing, and displaying data, developing and evaluating inferences and predictions based on data. Now that we've looked at some examples, let's revise and update an IEP goal statement. Here's what the goal statement looks like for Cherise. Cherise will solve multi-step, real-life, and mathematical problems posed with positive and negative integers. Revise the goal to align with standard 7EE B3. While using the SMART format, by month of year, student will make progress toward reference to standard. By name the priority skill or behavior in order to name the specific criterion. Let's take a look at a sample goal that falls under the social emotional learning standards. By October of 20XX, Dale will make progress toward understanding and managing emotions by making I statements to communicate preferences and needs in order to decrease the frequency of verbal aggression toward peers and staff from 2 times a day to 2 times per week. So in this presentation, we've looked at sample standards from reading, writing, math, and one from social emotional learning. In the discussion this week, you'll try writing 3 sample drafts of IEP goals, post them to the discussion board, give feedback to your peers' hosts, and then make a revision to at least one of your IEP goals.